Let's start with a story. Once upon a time, there was a really strong warrior named Harry. Let's just call him Harry. And Harry became powerful, had mastery of multiple weapons, and became feared in the land that he came from. So feared that nobody messed with him. Even villains were scared when they heard his name. He was like the Batman of his land. But one day, he met a woman, and that day, she invited him to a land he had never been. It wasn't too far from where he was, but he decided to play along and go with it. There was no attraction. She just said, "You're powerful. Let me take you to this land to meet powerful fighters as well." As he enters the land, he notices that no one is there. But there's one big, gigantic, church like architectural building. They enter the building together and it's quiet, but there is a statue of a little girl. That little girl is an important figure in this land, but he doesn't quite know her entire story. As they're talking about the history of this land, an unknown figure comes out of nowhere. It's as if they appeared out of thin air. And as he attempts to battle this individual, for some reason, he cannot touch them. And as he loses the battle, this figure uses a new power on him. And this power drains him of all his power. He passes out as he is defeated, unsure of what just happened, and gets thrown out of the land, this piece of land that he visited. And as he awakes, he notices every single weapon that he's built mastery on is gone. The armor that he was able to gather through all his adventures is gone. He realizes that he's back to square one, back to level one, back to basics. Now, this story, funny enough, comes from a video game called .hack GU. And if you've never played it, it wasn't really popular. It came out about 10 years ago. It was a story that I had found through anime, and I played the first games. This was the second set of games, and there was 3 games in this series. .hack GU follows the story of the main character Haseo, just like Harry that I just made. And in the beginning, he starts off as a very powerful individual. And it's a game that takes place in a game. It's very much an Inception type of thing. And it deals with the MMO. So it's like a world. There's leveling systems. It's basically you can play forever type of world. He got really powerful. I mean, so powerful that people were afraid of him. He had a name associated with him, but I'm forgetting the name right now. It was basically around like Deathbringer or something like that, and he wore this black suit, and he had, I think, 3 or 4 weapons. It's 3 weapons, if I'm remembering correctly. And the story starts with him defeating all these villains all alone. Usually it's a game that you require a party to go into these places. And he did end up going to some land with the church and ended up getting what is considered data drained in the game, and losing everything that he had built. what I love about this game is that he climbed the mountain, the figurative mountain that we all seek to climb in our life. And whatever that may look like for you, it may be in a financial standpoint, it may be in building family, it may be with your church, it may be in all these different modalities that exist. Eventually, you will end up in the valley again because life is just full of peaks and valleys. And similar to him, he got to the top, he climbed that mountain, and was thrown back into the valley. And he didn't ask for it. But what I love most about the game and the story, and it's not the greatest story, but I love the metaphor that exists within the story because as you play his character, you become one of they call them the epitaphs, and they're these really strong individuals. He's like one of the only characters that can transform into um, this being that defeats these other beings that are doing something to the world. That's literally what the game within the game is called. Um, and I would just say go to Wikipedia, read it up. But I noticed, and I use myself as an example, as always, um, that this has happened to me. You know, 2021 was my peak. I had been in a 7 year so far, 7 year relationship, almost 8. I had a job that was paying me over 6 figures, and I was living in a beautiful building, although it wasn't in the best location, but it was a beautiful building with tons of amenities I could only dream of when I was a kid. I was traveling and exploring much of the Western United States and visiting all these beautiful places and, great relationships with my family, amazing friendships. And I was building new friendships that were amazing. It's just so many things were going right. And I felt grateful at times, but also fearful at times because I was afraid to lose it all. But this is where resilience comes in because this wasn't the first time I lost everything. This this time in 2023 that I lost everything was out of my control specifically. But I remember back in 2014, I had also lost everything, but that was my own decision of quitting my job earlier than I should have at the time before heading off to China to teach English. I had chosen that route, and going to teach English in China was my way. And I thought maybe taking some time off between jobs was great. And originally, I thought I was going to go into the new year of 2015, but that didn't happen. I ended up having a longer than usual visa process because they had changed their visa process. So I had to do it twice because once they changed it, I had to redo it because they added steps to it. And just like in the game, after coming back from China, I had also been in a space where I had my own place. It wasn't ideal. I wasn't have a private jet or anything, but I had a decent job. I had my own place and I had great friends and everything was going right in New York. And I decided to take it all away, take this risk to go and explore the world. So that was me falling off the mountain. And then I built that back up. Took me a few years. And now I'm back and down in the valleys again. And just like Haseo is within a game, I'm back to that square one. I lost all my wonderful armor. I lost my weapons. And as in the game, you build it up. And you actually end up getting stronger than you were before in the last part of the series. So just like you may be dealing with those aspects of life where you're getting thrown off the peak and into a valley, just know that the next peak is even higher, but but you're unaware of the height because you can't see the peak due to the fact that there's clouds up there. And maybe the last peak you were on There were no clouds. It was pretty high, but it wasn't as high as this one. And yeah, it might be a little like harder to get up there, maybe easy. Maybe you figured I climbed that mountain before, and these are the skills I learned through climbing that mountain. So I can probably climb this mountain faster because I have a specific skill set that allows me to find the right route or to build something to help you go up this mountain. Or you've met several people along the path before who can help you, and you can consider them your Sherpas, right? And in the game, just like in the game, you have a party to support you and have your back when you're going through these battles to figure out why this happened to you and how to get your power back. And it's all about resilience. And this is the art of resilience. It's not quitting, right? The character Haseo in the game, once that happened to him, he could have just quit. He could have just been like, you know what? I'm not playing this game anymore. You don't actually get to ever meet the person in the game. You're playing a game within a game, so you're only playing that character. It's very confusing, but you know, stick with me here. He just started at square one and didn't stop and continued his journey again. And that's what we have to do is continue the journey. There's going to be setbacks. You're going to take a wrong detour. There's going to be all these things that happen, but that is the beauty of life. And this is why I love the art of resilience. And I always see myself as one of the folks that has built so much resilience, whether that's through my upbringing, through my own, you know, risk taking and things I've created. It is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Resilience is beautiful. All the ups and downs is beautiful. Is what makes life so artful. So take that story. I highly recommend if you're interested to watch maybe a summary of the game to give you a sense of like the character's arc, um, or just watch the game online or play it yourself. I know you can find it online in PlayStation Store or whatever. I mean, it does take a long time and it can be very redundant. And it's like I said, it's not perfect, but I like the metaphor that it provides us with. So with that, we're done. Comment below your thoughts. If you've ever played the game, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about it. And until tomorrow.